Hi, everyone. Dan here with John and Robin. Welcome to the Designer Show.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, guys. How you doing? We're just chatting about all sorts of different things except what we're going to talk about today. The green world. Yeah, we're just saying John's got a straw bale house that he built. How long would you build that, John?
Started in 1999 and moved in 2010.
Okay.
Wow.
So it took us 11 years to get it.
That's great.
It's a lot of bales of hay. Well, again, welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about sustainable products, green products, eco-friendly, whatever you want to call it. And Robin's done a bunch of speaking at NKBA National about this topic, and I assume you've done it with other groups too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So I think one of the reasons that it's a really great topic, especially following Earth Day yesterday, and a couple of things to keep in mind about this topic. It's important. We need to take care of the planet we live on. It's profitable. There's a lot of things coming out in the marketplace that you can put into your projects, and as designers, you get to be part of that process of specifying those kinds of products.
Absolutely.
And it's just good for everybody. It's good for the contractor, good for the owner, good for the community, the nation, the world. So I think we're going to see a lot of innovation in the coming years, and it'd be fun to be part of that. So I think about that all the time. What kind of cool product could I create that would be green and sustainable, that would help the world? It's like, I haven't come up with it yet, but we'll just create good training and software so you can go out and design it properly.
Absolutely.
I guess that'd be one way to do it. But anyway, so let's get into this in just a minute. But real quick commercial again. I'm with Chief Expert Academy. We teach Chief Architect. Plus, we're going to be teaching some other things coming up. Robin and I are putting together a nice class on kitchen design that we're pretty excited about. Currently, we have a course. I have a course called Mastering Chief Architect. I've just finished these other courses, structures, types, and terminology. That's where you can learn about the different parts of buildings and how they're put together. So if you're a designer and you need some more information about how buildings are constructed, we had some wonderful classes that talked about all the different methods out there. Creating a plan in Chief Architect is kind of a quick start into the program on how you can create a set of working documents with Chief. Plus, that includes a template that I've developed over the years that will make your design process a lot smoother. I know, John, you always have a good comment about the template that's been developed. What was that?
Worth every penny and then 10 times that.
10 times that. That's what I like to hear. So,
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah.
That's right. You've been using it too, Robin. So
yeah, it saved me so much time and made me so much more money.
Cool. Well, that's kind of what it's all about.
Absolutely.
For me, the biggest thing about it, other than those two things, is that I don't have to go keep reinventing the wheel every time I open a new stupid plan. I don't have to go redo all these settings every single time. They're done. And in my class on the templates, I teach you guys how to customize your own templates. So check that out. Structures CAD, that's where we got deep into, like this one, we talked about the how buildings are put together. In Structures CAD, we discussed how to design all the structural elements using Chief Architect, how to do the cross-section details, how to do the floor framing, wall framing, roof framing, deck framing, all those different elements that go into a project. So we really dove deep into that class. And Mastering right now, we're diving deep into all sorts of different things that go in the program, the settings, we've gone through hundreds of icons so far, and I've been explaining what each icon does, and we're going to keep doing that and just diving into all sorts of different things. So it's been fun classes, so I'd love to have you a part of them. So check it out, and I'd love your comments too, so let us know. Anyway, let's dive into the program now. Robin, I know you have some interesting things that you want to discuss as part of eco-friendly green. And so let's just dive into it. And I love your, we talked about this yesterday quite a bit. So you got a really nice presentation. Let's just start talking about that. And this is not meant in any way to be any kind of a political statement or anything like that. This is just good stuff, good products coming out that you should probably take a close look at and become part of. And Robin, before you get started, let me just show one thing. One of my favorite contractors here in the Twin Cities is Castle Building and Remodeling. They have 4 locations, and one of their locations was always an eco-friendly building products division of their company.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to their website, and this is a really good example of a company that's doing everything we've been talking about as far as embracing this whole green, eco-friendly thing coming up. If you go to the Education Center and you can go to green remodeling.
And
You're not showing your screen.
Not showing your screen.
I see it fine. What are you talking about?
Have that all the time.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you. Because I'm looking at that screen, not the screen we're on. So anyway, Castle Building Remodeling, go to Education Center in the green remodeling section. And just, they list a lot of the things that they do for this topic that we're about to talk about. So, the different kinds of materials, carpet, countertop, butcher block, paper, quartz, recycle, plumbing, tile. So they really do a nice job of bringing that to their projects. And I think as time goes on, we should all take a close look at that. So, Robin,
Absolutely.
let's get to you and
Perfect.
have at it. And you got some great information here. By the way, you guys, feel free to leave your comments. Would love to hear your feedback on this. If you know of some green products that work for you, type them in. We'd love to hear more about it. So go ahead, Robin.
So a few years ago, I wrote a book with Amanda Davis, a colleague of mine at the local college where I teach, on sustainability for the kitchen and bath designer. Other than the fact that it was an incredibly depressing year of writing that book, because you learn things that are probably not, that are frightening, actually frightening, if you want to go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really learned a lot is how to incorporate sustainable concepts into my projects in ways that it increased my bottom line, but it helped my client. So I don't shove the concept down my client's throat. I do live in Portland, Oregon, so let's be very fair about that. We're already pretty embracing this concept, but we do, there are so many ways to incorporate these concepts into your design without making it a political statement. So it's just easy. And the best part is it helps your bottom line, and it makes your clients' lives easier. So there's so many things that we can do. This is my son when he was really young. The kid's now 20 years old. So why should we do these kind of things? It's really about, our future, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through this whole presentation, but I will kind of give you just basic issues. Right now, the biggest problem that we have on our planet is that we're using up our resources. It has to do with, we have a lot of people here, and we all need to eat, and we all use our resources. But it's just like your checking account. If you have $100 in your checking account and you're spending $175, eventually it's not going to pan out real well. And right now, and actually this is 2 years old, it doesn't get updated every year, but right now we're using 1.75 of our Earth's resources every year, which isn't sustainable. I mean, eventually, there were only so many dinosaurs that made oil. Eventually, we're going to use up all the oil, right? So we have to figure out a different way to deal with basically dealing with oil, to just figure out how to continue with this planet. So that's just kind of the basic things. I'm not going to go through all of it. But one of the first things that I do when I meet with my clients is I send my clients a lifestyle questionnaire beforehand, and we discuss what are their sustainability quotient. What are the things that are the most important to them? And I will tell you that I get probably 80% of my clients say indoor air quality is the number one most important thing in their home. So that's easy. I can buy paint that has low VOC in it, or zero VOC paint, which is a great paint. I mean, it's just you can buy a high quality paint. You can make different choices in flooring materials. You can incorporate better ventilation in your client's home, in their bathrooms and their kitchens. So there's so many ways to do this, which isn't which helps the client, right? But I do have all these listed, and universal design or living in place concepts, that is sustainable. If you're designing or building a home for a client that they can live in for a longer period of time, they can live in for the rest of their life, that's a sustainable concept, right? So it's really pretty open.
So have you guys heard of the 2030 project?
No.
Tell me about it.
It's a project. You go to project2030.eu.
Yes.
Yes. And I think maybe there was another one, but the goal of this project was to educate people in the world to help reduce emissions from houses. Because currently, if I remember, I did a bunch of research on this quite a while ago. Housing in our country contributes 30% of the carbon emissions, the carbon footprint to our nation, to the world.
Right.
So, we have a pretty big carbon footprint with houses. The building materials, the things that go into it, your water heaters spewing out, emissions, the furnace, everything we do in it, we're using up water, everything that we do. So check it out. It's got some really good information, the 2030 project. Whether you agree with the whole political aspect of all of this stuff, I think this stuff is just really good common sense. Let's think about it. Let's start doing something about it. So, So anyway, I just wanted to point.
Well, it's amazing because concrete is like one of the biggest. We use a lot of concrete in the industry, right? And that has such a high level of embodied energy, meaning the amount of energy it takes to just produce it. That's where it's energy that it takes just to produce concrete. But how do we live without concrete? I mean, we need it for our foundations. There's not a lot of other options.
Yeah.
So the construction industry has it has a huge impact on the earth. And a lot of it has to do with, I mean, you can get into whole global economic issues of what's happening. Like right now, don't we have a sheetrock shortage? We've had a gypsum shortage for years. Wood prices are going nuts. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm not saying to look at different building concepts. I'm a kitchen and bath designer. I'm looking at the concepts for inside this room. Because that's a whole nother storyline of, how do you build the house? But when I look at a project, I try to look at how can I help my client in a way that's healthy for them, helps to make their life a little bit easier, and doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money. So like when we talk about water conservation, this one's crazy. This is actually crazy, and I'll just kind of talk about this. Eutrophication has to do with runoff. It has to do with runoff from things we put on our plants to our driveways running off, chemicals off of our driveway and the roads. It all goes into the waterway. When it rains, everything eventually ends up into our waters. But the biggest problem is inside the house is the garbage disposal. So garbage disposals are great, but the problem is our wastewater treatment system is really in disarray. Our wastewater treatment system in America has a D+ rating by the U.S. Corps of Engineers. They put out a report every year. And it has not to do with the garbage disposal, but the problem is because our wastewater treatment systems were based when we had less people in the using our system, and they're old. They're really old. This is why I'm totally for infrastructure reform, which is what we need to do. But the problem is now we're putting so much food down our garbage disposal, which goes into the wastewater treatment system, that the system can't manage it. So all of that, essentially everything you put down the garbage disposal and everything you put down your sewer, a large majority of it goes directly into our wastewater, into our fresh water system. So there was a report done by, there's a report that if you want it, I have a copy of it. It's a white paper, and it was produced in the US and in Australia. And what they did was they compared using a garbage disposal to composting. Now, in the world of composting, there's 2 levels of composting. There's anaerobic, where you dig a hole, you throw all your waste in it, and you bury it. That takes a really long time to decompose. But if you put it in a bin, you have a compost bin in your yard, and you aerate it, that's aerobic composting. Comparing, so if you look at reports, you're going to see reports that using a garbage disposal is as good as anaerobic composting. But if you don't understand what anaerobic composting is, you realize that it is really not great. Okay. This report was put out by Incinerator. Now, I do refer to the same report that was done in Australia, where they said it doesn't matter. You can compost, or you can use a garbage disposal. And honestly, because their wastewater treatment system is one of the best in the world, it doesn't matter. You can use whatever you want. But in the U.S., most of the stuff that we put down our garbage disposal goes right out into our rivers, which ends up causing algae blooms and helps the bottom feeders, but doesn't help the fish at the top. So that's just one way. And a lot of clients, I share basically some of this information with them. And I get about 50-50 of people who say, yeah, okay, I understand, but I still want my garbage disposal. And that's fine. My job is to educate. It's not to make them go one way or the other.
Yeah.
But
not here to judge.
Yeah, whatever they want to do, it's fine. I'll take their money. They want to put a garbage disposal in, I'll take it. And I know that that's kind of a, back and forth on it, but I educate my clients about it. So
yeah, we started composting in my house a few years ago. We don't compost. We keep it and we give it to the city in their composting program. Not a big deal. We just have a little container there. We put all of our organic waste in it. It's amazing how much that adds up to. So we rarely use our garbage disposal anymore, and it hasn't been a big deal. So
I haven't had a garbage disposal in 20 or 30 years. I took them out years ago, but I do compost. Now, I will tell you, we downsized from our farm to a really small house with a really small footprint. And right now I have 3 garbage disposal bins. I have 3 compost bins that I'm hoping one is I can see it right now. I'm trying to aerate it out so I can use it this year. So that's a little bit of a problem if you don't have a municipal compost system. We have it in Portland, but not everybody has it.
Right.
Anyway, but opening the conversation up gives you opportunities to help make their lives better by putting in recycling systems in their kitchen and planning for composting in their kitchen. So these are Revishelf, and I think they're Hafela, but there's so many systems out there. So it's just about how do you clients don't know that they can even get this. So our job is to share with them.
So John, you live up north in the boonies. How do you handle your waste, your composting and things like that? Do you do any of that?
No, we're not really composting anymore. When we had chickens and stuff like that, we used to just feed it all to the chickens.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you being gone so much, you probably don't have those animals out on your farm anymore, huh?
Not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't do so well.
You ate all the chickens, huh?
So if I go into a client's home who has water, I see a lot of plastic water bottles in it, then I will suggest, I can go through and explain to them how bad plastic water bottles are. Only not, people say that you can recycle plastic. Well, in the real world, only 9% of all plastic is actually recycled.
Yeah.
Only 9%. So what happens with the rest of our plastic is it gets sent to India and Indonesian countries, where it's now the #1 polluter of those countries. It's our plastic water bottles. And this is a disgusting image, so I hope you guys aren't eating breakfast. But this is what's happening to our water, to our plastic. It's getting into the waterway and animals are eating it. And this is a poor seagull that was found. This is a picture from National Geographic. And it's pretty depressing. I mean, this is reality of what's happening.
Yeah. I've seen tons of those kinds of images. Yeah. They're
just heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
So here's the opportunity. Suggest to your client to put a water filter in their home. I mean, the benefits to them is better tasting water, it removes lead, it costs less. I did a presentation years ago. Remember when gas was like almost $5 a gallon? And I was at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show doing this presentation. And I said, how do you feel about something that you could get for free, but you guys are all now paying between $9 and $12 a gallon for? And they're like, no, I would never do that. And I had 125 people in the room that I was giving this lecture to, and almost all of them had plastic water bottles on their disposable water bottles. I said, you have it right now. That costs you between $9 and $12 a gallon, which is crazy that we do that and we just think about it. Right? We don't even think about it. We just buy
for
it.
the convenience. That's in my house. We all have our, water jug things. We have filtered water in our fridge, and it's no big deal.
Absolutely. But think about this as a marketing tool. So years ago, I went to Sub-Zero's showroom, which is really close to you. It's just outside of Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Anyway, they gave us plastic water bottles. And I said, you guys really should be using this as a marketing opportunity. So if you put your company's name on it, you buy water bottles, nice water bottles. I mean, it's expensive, but this is a marketing tool. Put your company's name on it, and you give your clients one or two or three of them and say, we care about you and the environment, or however the hell you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they lose the water bottle, I mean, I have found water bottles that I've taken home and cleaned and reused them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's your company name right here. Well, now Sub-Zero does that, so I'm really happy.
Anyway, good job. Every little thing helps.
Absolutely. Sorry, going the wrong way. Didn't mean to do that. Biggest thing with water is our water leaks. And I was just rereading this. It's actually, that number is up higher than here now. But there's ways to minimize things, like buying new toilets. I just put all new, yes, I know this is a first world problem, I'm sorry, but I just put Toto toilets throughout my house. I bought 3 of them this year. Oh my gosh, besides the fact that they are super comfy, like they're really nice toilets, they use 0.8 gallons of water to flush liquid waste, and only 1.0 gallons to 1 gallon to flush solid waste. And here's the best part about them, is because of the way the toilet is designed and because of the coating that's on it, you don't get skid marks. So here's what it also does, is it saves your energy. I know, John's giggling. Well, it saves energy. You don't have to clean the toilet all the time, right? So you should clean your toilet. You should clean your toilet. I'm not saying not to, but these toilets are amazing. I actually can talk about toilets forever. It's like one of my favorite things to talk about.
Holy shit. No.
Yeah, I know. There you go. The other thing to consider is whether or not my client buys a bidet seat, I always put an electrical outlet in on the left side of the toilet. Always. When I gut a kitchen, or gut a bathroom, when we gut a bathroom, we always put an outlet with a circuit for a bidet seat in the future. And honestly, what ends up happening is if the client doesn't want to spend the money now to buy it, they buy it later. It almost always becomes a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Weird Christmas present, but I guess it's better than a vacuum. So
Yeah.
The other thing to consider doing is recirculating pumps. This is an option that allows, a lot of people will turn their water on, right? I think the real estate people have said that since 1980, the master bathroom has moved an extra 20 feet away from the hot water tank because of the size, right? So it's moved an extra 20 feet away from it. And, second floor and over and the whole bit, right? Rise and run, the whole thing. So it now takes more time to get hot water to the master bathroom.
Yeah.
So if you put in a recirculating pump, which is the least expensive way to go, and you can set it on a timer, so that way the hot water starts flowing through the tank system. You're not through the plumbing system, you have instant hot water.
Right.
And you can program it so it turns on in the morning and it turns on in the evening. And it's a good, easy, quick sale to add on a project.
It's a great idea. I should put one of those in my house.
Yeah, I
It's
should
like-
put one in my house too.
Yeah. You go to a hotel and it's like, yeah, water's there instantly, hot water. It's like, that's
Isn't
really
it
nice.
lovely?
Yeah, that's what
It's-
they
Depends
do.
on what time of day it is, Dan.
Does
Yeah.
Depends
it?
on what time of day it is.
Right,
Well,
because
yeah.
they have the recirculating system on,
Right.
right?
Right.
They have the recirculating system to go in the morning and in the evening. They don't have it
Yeah,
on the middle of the day.
Have it on timer, like you were saying. Yep.
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 Yeah, but you can do that residentially. And here's the thing about some of these things is like, I'm not telling anybody anything new. They all know that this is available. It's just that you forget to remind your client about it, right?
Yeah.
When a client is spending $80,000 on a bathroom remodel, what's a little bit more to add recirculating hot water? I mean, it's a nominal expense, right? It's
Right.
a few $100s. It's not like we're talking $1,000 or 15, we're not talking a huge number. It's a small percentage and it increases your bottom line. I mean, and you're helping your client out, right?
Right.
So you can look at it.
Every time they turn their faucet on, get hot water, they're going to think of you. God, I'm sure
They're going to think about you.
At least for
Low
a while.
flow. Yeah. And we don't really have much of an option anymore with low flow shower heads, but there are now, you say, Bill says that they're between $250 and $350.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
Nice.
Bill, is that including labor? I mean, that's the product. And then it's probably about 2 or 3 hours with your plumber.
Well, if the plumber's there plumbing things anyway, they're
Yeah.
there. It's not like they're making a separate trip just to put that item in.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
that's going to be a time save. That's going to save money right there, just as being part of the project.
Absolutely. So it's not a huge money. It's not huge.
Right.
Low flow shower heads. This is actually an old slide and I have to update this. In Oregon, I think our code now says 1.5 gallons per minute. But here's the best part about this is I always have clients say to me, well, because I'll recommend a super low flow shower head. I have a few that are really super low and clients will say to me, if I hate this shower head, what happens? And I said, if you hate the way this shower works for you, I'll buy it back. I promise I'll buy it back from you. And I've never had anybody do that because the way they have changed the way the flow restrictors are, it actually makes the water come out better. You have a really awesome shower now.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we're reducing the amount of water coming out of it, you still get that luxurious shower. It's amazing.
A good example of that is that, we had an old sink with the old plastic spray handle on it and it would kind of spray okay. And a couple of years ago, I replaced the countertops and put a new sink and a new, the pull-out kind with the sprayer on it. The new sprayer, same plumbing it's coming off of, sprays at least 4 times as hard as my old one did. I mean, it's incredible. It's like, did someone put a pump on this or something?
No.
Same plumbing, just a different spray head.
If you actually take out, it is crazy what they do is instead of when the water comes out of the pipe, right, it comes out of the pipe and it goes into the shower head, they now have like this, it's a piece of plastic that has like little teeny tiny channels in it. And the water comes out really big and it gets forced into these itty bitty little, lines. So now the water comes out super hard. It's like water jet technology.
Yeah.
If you use, hey, Nikki, how are you? I know Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
I don't atomize the water. Are you talking about those misters? Nikki, are you talking about those misters?
At a builder's show a few years ago, well, it'd be about 3-4 years ago now, there was a booth, one of those international booths, and they had a booth that all they did was show you different types of little, little plastic things you put in the end of the nozzle that make the water come out differently. They had dozens of different kinds, and they were giving some away. I brought one home, and it's like, that's pretty cool. I mean, who would have thunk?
Absolutely.
Anyway,
oh, here, let me go
quick.
this. Yeah, it's crazy. Nikki, I have a Nebbia shower head. I bought one when it was on a Kickstarter. It's I definitely have a shower. The Nivea shower, it's a like a misting shower head. I have one. I bought it thinking, oh, this will be great. It uses a ridiculously teeny tiny little bit of water, but I have to put a heater on. I have to turn the heater on in my bathroom during the winter time because I can't get warm enough. You know, it's just because the water, I have no problem getting my hair washed and everything. But it's just not that. Don't tell anybody, but I'm going to change it out. I'm going to put a new shower head. This is talking about leaks in the U.S. This is crazy. Again, this goes back to the U.S. Corps of Engineers report card that just came out a few months ago. And this is part of why we need to fix infrastructure. Absolutely. There's a water main break every 2 minutes, which we lose 6 billion gallons of fresh water every single day in this country. That's almost 3.3 trillion gallons of fresh water every year. You guys think about that. 3.3 trillion gallons of fresh water every day. And that's because the pipes are bad. I mean, everybody's pipes, eventually things go bad, right? The pipes are in the ground and they're starting to rot.
Yeah.
But when we go to the US, the average American loses 180 gallons of water to leaks. And this is where you can be affected, right? So 180 gallons of water per year on average, right?
Per week, you said.
Lost.
It says per week on your...
Per week. Yeah, 180 gallons of water per week is lost per average in each household based on leaks. Now, let me explain to you how that happens. A client of mine went away for 4 days. The first day they went away, they flushed their toilet before they left, right? The toilet kept running for 4 days. Okay, so that's part of, like my house might not be leaking, but his house took some of my 180 gallons.
Yeah.
So anyway, his house the water ran for 4 days, cost $125,000 worth of water damage. Crazy, right? And that's only what the insurance company would cover. It ended up costing him a lot more. But there's this super cool product. And Dan, you were talking about creating something for the home. These tech geeks, I mean, they're not even, I don't even think they were engineers. They were tech geeks. And what they did was they created this item that it's a DIY product. It runs about $500. I've seen it anywhere from $500 and $1,100, which is crazy. If you go to your local supplier, it's a whole lot cheaper. But Flow is a product that gets put on the as the water comes into the house, and you program it at night you program it at a specific time to stop any water from coming into the house for 20 minutes. And what it does is it checks the pressure of the water in the pipes. If the water that's inside the house, the pressure starts dropping, it sends you an alert saying, hey, what's going on because your water pressure dropped. And you could say, oh no, we're filling up the pool, or something's happening. But you could also, like that client of mine, could be on vacation going, yeah, it's not supposed to run. And he can tell Flow to keep the water stopped. So he would have a leak of all the water in the house would have gone out, but it wouldn't have been $125,000 worth of damage.
Yeah, here it is on Amazon for $439.
Yeah.
Another great idea. God,
clients
I'm going to be doing
don't even know
circulating
about it.
pumps and flow monitors here. Holy smokes.
Absolutely. So we've done two things for the client, and you increased your bottom line without even thinking about it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Clients don't know about this. And if you just put it in, it's like in my specs. And I always talk to my clients about it, and they go, and they're like, well, like this. Flow also has a warranty, and I don't know what the warranty is, but if it fails, it will pay a percentage. I'm not exactly sure. You have to look that up. There's a few other products like this. I like Flow only because I knew the guys who invented it, and I just thought they were really nice. And
They pay a $5,000 deductible, and it's got a 5-year extended warranty. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal, right?
No.
It's a great option. So bathtubs, and I put this in as consider the bathtub or not. I'm not a bather. My husband's a bather. Like, I don't take baths. Like, I do shower, you guys, every day. I take a shower.
Oh, that's good.
Phew. But I'm not the thought of being in a bathtub is just ew. But luckily we have a hot tub and my husband uses that practically every single day. I've been in our hot tub in 6 years, like 7 times. It's like my least favorite thing to do. But, the conversation is, do you need a bathtub in a client's home? And in this home, we took out the bathtub and we put in a steam shower.
Yeah.
Now, here's one of the best parts about a steam shower. You can take a shower for 10 minutes and use like 20 gallons of water, right? I can't remember the exact numbers. I have that in a chart here for a second. But you could also take a 20-minute steam shower for less than 3 gallons of water, right? Now, that is a big number. It's a big topic. Adding a steam shower will cost a client on average around $10,000. It's not cheap, right?
It's not just the steam, it's the way you put the shower together and apply the tile and everything else that goes with it, the ventilation. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into putting a steam shower because you're creating so much humidity in a house.
Absolutely. But here's the thing is that half the time clients don't even know that's an option.
True.
And if you're in that high-end clientele, I probably put in, I'm going to say 3 to 5 of them a year. Okay. It's not a lot, but never have I ever had a client say, Robin, I also want to put in a steam shower. What I get is, so let's talk about how do you shower? How do you bathe? Oh, we only take showers. We don't take bathtubs. We took the bathtub out. Have you thought about a steam shower? No, what is that? And then when I go through, and I always preface with, it's expensive. It's going to cost you about $10,000 more, but let me tell you the benefits of it. And when they hear that there's a benefit of, only using less than 3 gallons of water and being able to take a 20-minute shower, I was raised military. My dad was one of these, you get in the shower, get wet, turn the water off, soap up, turn the water back on, rinse and get out. So wow. I do these path-through showers. My showers are like super fast. And once a week I take like a 5-minute shower and I think I'm being really like spoiled. But the idea of taking a 20-minute steam shower would be like glorious. I'm a water use freak.
Robin?
Yeah.
Robin, one of the things I've learned with looking at putting our van together to be able to travel the way we do is people are putting showers in their van and filtering the water with regular filters and UV filters and stuff like that, and on-demand hot water, and able to take a shower indefinitely, basically, with less than 2 gallons of water.
And reusing the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Now, there's a great example of eco-friendly. That's really a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, Dan,
that's called gray water, right? That's
right.
not the water.
It's all gray water, but the key that makes it work is they use a UV filter to kill all the bacteria as it's coming through.
Yeah.
So it's coming back through clean. Yeah.
Right.
Can you use, in Oregon, we're allowed to build homes. Well, not Oregon. In Portland, you can build houses with a gray water reclamation system. You can build houses with that. It's a German technology. I don't know if that's allowed in your jurisdiction.
Not typically. I've done it in one house, but not typically.
I've never even heard of it.
They still want you to treat it the same as the black water. So,
we're allowed to then reclaim it and then use it on plants, right? So it's everything that comes out of everything except for anything comes out of the sewer. You can take it and put it into a system to reclaim it for garden use. And we have water. We don't have water rights in Oregon, so we can take water off of our roofs and use that for gardening, which I'm just now putting in a rainwater system, collection system in our yard. But I know like places in Colorado, you don't own the water on your roof. Right. They still have water rights. So it's all, some of that kind of stuff is all
I've heard of that.
very specific. Yeah. I think it's kind of cool that they still have it, but so the other big issue right now is this battle over gas. There's 40 counties in Colorado, Washington State. No, sorry, 40 counties in, let me clarify this, 40 municipalities in California. There are some in Chicago or Massachusetts, Colorado, and in Washington State that no longer allow new construction to have gas in their homes. So it's new construction. There are a lot of states that are now passing laws to ban this option, and those are more in the South. So I know you can see it here where Tennessee, Oklahoma, Arizona, Louisiana are prohibiting the gas ban. But if this is happening in your area, one of the things that we can do as designers is to recommend options from gas to induction. You know, one of the things people say that they want about gas is it's instant on, instant off. And that is absolutely true. The flame is instant on, the flame is instant off. But the cast iron grates retain heat for a really, really, really long time. Whereas induction is truly instant on, instant off. And within, you know, a minute, you could be putting your hand directly on that burner. So it's safe. But I will tell you, I went from gas to induction, and I still can't make a hard-boiled egg. And I'm a great cook, but I used to do my hard-boiled egg by using the residual heat from the cast iron grate to make my hard-boiled eggs. Yeah, Berkeley, California is the first place that law went into place. That's where it started, was in Berkeley. Yeah. So, you know,
I think we're going to see a ton more of that, I think, coming up too. With
absolutely.
the new green initiatives coming out and all that. So, yeah.
That's interesting because I tried to get an energy thing on one of the houses that I built.
Mm-hmm.
And when they found out that I had an electric boiler in the house to heat the electric hot water for the floor and stuff like that, the guy said, forget it. They won't even approve it because there's so much line loss. There's so much line loss in the electric lines that it was more energy efficient in our area anyway to use gas than it was to use electricity.
Wow. I have never heard of that.
Yeah, again, I think that's an area we're going to probably see tons of change and innovation happen in the coming years because people are going to be forced to do it because of the regulations that are going to start happening. So
I would think hydronic heat would be like one of the best things.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that would be,
But it was the electric boiler that was the problem.
Huh.
Because I was heating the water with electricity, and it the explanation was that there's so much line loss that it actually takes more energy to use electricity than it does to use the gas.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know anything about that. Do you guys have to deal with makeup air? Is that in your area? John, do you?
Yeah. In Minnesota, you know, we build houses so tight here, you have to have makeup air.
Well, you're talking different than an air exchanger, though, right? You're talking actual makeup air for your hood ventilation and things like that, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But it is the same thing. It's now an air exchange because the whole system with makeup air, just to kind of give a basic concept of it, because makeup air isn't required throughout the whole country. There's a few states that don't require it. What happened with makeup air, for those of you who don't know about it, makeup air happened when we started making houses so tight that when you turned on the fan, you were actually creating negative pressure in the home, kind of like drinking trying to drink out of a juice box, and eventually you collapse the juice box. So you started pulling air from things like your fireplace or your furnace, and then people started getting sick. So makeup air says that when you turn on a fan, that fresh air has to come into the house, but it absolutely has to come into the living part of the home. It can't come into the basement. It can't come into the garage. It can't go into the attic. It actually has to be where people are all the time. So there's a few ways to do it. Not so good where you guys live is just have fresh air come right into the house. not so good in the middle of the winter time where you guys are.
No.
Nobody would want that. So it becomes a more expensive option where now we bring it into kind of a mixing plenum that kind of helps to raise the moisture or decreases the moisture, so it's not killing your heating, your HVAC system. The problem with this is as I go back to the beginning thing where I told you that I interview my clients and I ask them what's most important to them, they all say indoor air quality is like the most important. But when I tell them that we have to deal with makeup air because they bought a Wolf range, right? I mean, I still have clients who do gas, right? So they buy this big Wolf range, and then they put which should have, a 600 or 700 CFM fan over it, and they go to Costco and buy a 390 CFM fan, which is like, trying to clean your house with a straw. It's just crazy because they don't want to spend the extra $1,500 to $3,000 on putting makeup air in. It blows my mind, especially when they're in a $100,000 kitchen. It's just, I have to then remind them, take them back to their original priority. Okay, I'm checking that out. I'm going to take a picture of that. I've never heard of that. That's really good to know. Yeah, that's super good to know. Anything that I can do that's cheap, that's less expensive, and get people to pay attention to it, it's great. But that's a problem, and I don't know anything about the Leno's Air. Do you guys know anything about that?
I do not.
Nope. Never heard of it.
No.
So here was my favorite thing to do. I learned this from another designer. I used to yell at my husband all the time about he leaves the light on in his office, he leaves the light on in the utility room, in the garage, and in our closet. So we went to Home Depot and we bought motion sensors. It took him less than an hour, and I no longer complain. The lights turn off instantly. It's so great.
So he's happier too.
He's happier too. It's like a win-win. Seriously, motion sensors. So now when we're remodeling, I ask clients, like a pantry, a walk-in pantry needs a motion sensor. A laundry room, a motion sensor. Closets. It's like the brainless thing to do, and who thinks about it, right?
Well, that'd be a great comment. That'd be a great one for marriage counselors to work with.
Yeah.
Motion sensors, it'll save a marriage.
There you go.
I think they're amazing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What's that?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And they are nice.
Oh my God, I love them. So then these are just some case studies of different ways to be environmental. So we did marmoleum floor. Marmoleum is like one of the greenest products out there. It's also an incredibly durable floor. If you have it installed by a marmoleum mechanic, it has to be a certified person, you get a 40-year warranty. I mean, it's crazy. The warranty's like, I don't know if the warranty is 40 years, but it will last 40 years or longer. Easy to maintain, easy to repair, great colors. You don't have to do lime green. The paint in this house was all zero VOC paint. I use Benjamin Moore. Aura is zero VOCs. Sherwin-Williams, their Emerald series is zero VOCs. I mean, it's easy. They have great color, high quality paint. Your painter's going to like you more because you're using quality paint, and it doesn't off gas. This kitchen the countertop was a recycled gym floor. The tile is Oceanside glass, and Oceanside glass has a whole bunch of glass, and it goes on their website where you can see what the recycled content is in their glass. And you don't have to just do this little tiny mosaics. You have lots of options. And the cabinets were done with zero VOCs, and it was a local cabinet shop here in Portland that does everything non-urea added formaldehyde. All you people in California, this is the way you guys all have to deal with it. But there's so many ways to do things that are energy efficient. Like now, the one thing that we installed in our home when we remodeled was a touch faucet, which, oh my gosh, love the touch faucet. Your hands are gross. You can turn it on like that and you can turn it off. Here's the best part about it. Yes, it saves water. It totally saves water because you're turning it on and off all the time, right? But it makes it easier to clean up. You don't get all that water, gross stuff behind the sink because you're not touching the handle with your wet hand. So it saves your energy, which is always a benefit, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to clean. Nobody cleans behind the sink. Anyway, those are just different ideas of how to this is end. This was another idea. I was talking to Dan about this. This was a project years ago that we did. The client called me like 2 days before they were about ready to sign a contract with a contractor. And the contractor wanted to build an addition out here, right? I wanted to build an addition. Their backyard was gorgeous. And now, or actually it was bigger. Wanted to take it all the way out to this eating bar space and build this huge addition. And it was going to cost them god-awful amount of money, and their landscaping would have been destroyed. And, you know, they just weren't sure. And when I went into their living room and their dining room, they had 4 kids. Their living room had a train set all over it, a piano, but a train set all over the floor. And their dining room was filled with Legos on the dining room table, right? And I said, so do you use your dining room? And they go, well, yeah, for Legos. I said, do you eat here? No, because there's Legos here. And I said, well, why don't you use your dining room? And they said, well, it's too narrow. And it's just not very comfortable. And the contractor wanted to keep this dividing wall. So the dining room was just going to become longer and narrow, just a longer, narrow space.
Just a bigger Lego room.
Just a bigger Lego room. And I said, do you use your living room? And they're like, yeah, for trains. And her husband said, well, I really would like to be able to play the piano, but I never can get in there. So I said, well, let's make the kitchen bigger and move it into the dining area. And they said, well, then we won't have a formal dining room. So I called a real estate agent up and I said, would you come over and talk to them about it? And they said, you would not lose any income. You won't lose any value on your house. This is what we ended up doing. This area over on the right-hand side is now where their dining room is. We left enough space to be able to seat like 16 people.
So you have a big, long table you can put in there.
Big, long table, right? But here's the best part. The dining room got bigger. Now he comes home from work and relaxes and plays the piano while she's cooking dinner. The kids are over here in the family room. When they have big parties, the food is here. The kids are here. The adults are here. They can hear what's going on with the kids, but they're far enough away and everybody's close to the food, right? And we didn't increase their taxes. We didn't increase their HVAC. And we didn't destroy their backyard just by reusing the space.
But the most important question is, where do they do the Legos now?
Then we did a family room in the bonus area. And now they do Legos up there.
Okay.
So nobody wants to step on those.
No, they are nasty.
It's a bad thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So in this situation, we gave them square footage that they had, but they weren't using.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and this thing kills me, is that, you know, like the living room, they never use the formal living room. And I say, well, have you thought about putting the dining room there and use the dining room as part of the kitchen? And people say, no, but that's the living room. And it's just because an architect wrote living room there on the plan that they think that's the living room. Yeah. I'd much rather be if I was having a formal dinner party, have the fireplace going while we're eating dinner. Wouldn't that be nicer?
Yeah. So great example of green design. I mean, green in the fact that, you know, you're not destroying a bunch of things and then, you know, adding a bunch of new things, but you worked within what was there. So very cool. Plus, I assume you sold them lots of green products. They bought lots of green products too. Yeah.
Well, I'm really big on using Cambria quartz, which is real close to your area. You can clean it with anything. It's crazy that you can do anything with it. You still can't put hot things on it. So just make sure you know that. You still can't put hot things on it. But it's made here in the US. So the distance traveling to my location is less than getting something from Europe or, you know, from the Middle East, like a piece of stone that we have to then put on a boat that has to come across country and come to us.
Get stuck in a canal somewhere.
That was a little bit of an issue.
Anyway, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff. You got any more little tidbits on your slide deck? Oh, that was the finished product. That was a finished picture of that kitchen, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the finished. Yeah.
Boy,
And
that
here's
turned
the
out
thing.
nice.
Well, recently I was asked by a magazine to send me pictures of a green kitchen. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, don't green kitchens all look alike? It's like, no, no. See, that's the thing, is that green design doesn't have to have a look. You know, it can look like anything. It can be very English Tudor style. It doesn't have to be this plywood, you know, raw looking project. It can be anything you want it to be. It's all about, what are you thinking of? How are you helping your clients?
So you
You know,
don't
here's
have to
another.
have green cabinets to have a green
No, oh my gosh. No, well, here's another appliance that I'm a huge fan of. I have a Bosch induction range, so it has an oven. But then when we remodeled, we put in a Wolf steam oven. So, and I will preface this all the time, that a Wolf steam oven is expensive. It's over $4,000, but there's only 3 people in my home. My big range, my big oven takes 20 minutes to heat up to 350 degrees. My it's not induction, it's a convection steam oven, takes less than 5 minutes to heat up to 450 degrees. I can put 3 trays of cookies in at one time to bake. I can put in 2 9x11 cookie sheets, or not cookie sheets, but casserole dishes in at the same time. No, I cannot cook a 26-pound turkey in it. But since we put that in, going on 3 years, I have turned on my big oven, I'm going to say about 10 times. Twice for Thanksgiving, 3 times for Thanksgiving. We do a huge cookie baking thing with our family every year, so we have to run both ovens. And then to put a Papa Murphy pizza in, I had to put it in that because it won't fit in the steam oven. So for people who care about eating healthy, who have a small, eat healthy, they don't want to use a lot of energy to heat up an appliance. A steam oven, a smaller steam oven, is a great way to go. John, it would be perfect in your trailer. Small. You can still cook.
It depends on how much energy it takes.
The problem, actually, they don't. I think they're a 15 amp, but I can't remember that.
That would work.
Yeah,
that would work.
I think that's where they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and they're small body, and you don't have. I have a 24-inch one in there, but the cavities are all the same size. It doesn't matter which size you buy. It just depends upon what appliance you're putting it over the top of.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah. Yeah, and then the other thing to think about is sizes of your dishwashers. There's only 3 of us in our house. We live in a small house. It's 1,400 square feet. We have an 18-inch dishwasher as opposed to a 24-inch dishwasher. Because even though we're all living at home and working at home now, and we're eating 3 meals a day in the house, 3 of us are, we still only run our dishwasher every day and a half.
Sure.
I cannot put mixing bowls in it. I can't put my pots and pans in it, but I can load that thing up like crazy. If I had a 24-inch dishwasher, it would take me like 4 days to fill it up.
So awesome. Well, these are great tips. John, you got any other little tips you want to add? Anything that comes to mind?
No, I was just wondering if Robin would give us her pitch for aging in place. How do you pitch that to a customer? Because I've had several customers over the years say, I don't want anything to do with that. But yeah, it's something they should really consider more.
So first of all, change the terminology from aging in place to living in place, because nobody wants to be told you're old, right? Right? Nobody wants to be told they're old.
That's the problem right there, yeah.
That's the biggest problem, right? Yeah. So you don't ever want to say that, but a lot of times I put concepts in. So as a designer, I'm recommending products, right? So I only recommend products that are green, that are environmentally as defined by me, right? I only recommend things that are as safe as possible, right? So like in a shower, I always put a grab bar in there. You know, I always put in blocking in the shower walls because at some point you're going to need blocking. So like, you know, even if people say, oh, I don't want grab bars, you have really young people who are super fit. And I'll say, have you ever worked your quads out, you know, did leg days so hard that you go to the bathroom and you just go, oh my God, the thought of sitting down on that toilet is going to hurt so badly. So I'll say, you know, a grab bar would be great because then you could pull yourself up and you get upper body workout at the same time. So, and currently I'm working with this really young couple and I asked them, are you going to have babies? And they said, yes. And we specified a dishwasher that was appropriate for being able to put parts of, you know, like the high chair in it, right? They had an adjustable rack system so that way they could put baby stuff in. They're planning on a baby in like another 2 years. So the dishwasher will still be there. So I think it's just offering suggestions, but change the terminology. Don't talk about it as bidet seats are a fabulous thing for people. And I never sell a bidet seat to a woman because it's an easy sale to a woman. Sorry, everybody here. I always sell it to a man. And what I do is I tell them, we take them to the showroom and I say, you need to go to the bathroom and you need to sit. And they go, no, I don't. And I say, no, trust me, this will change your life. Go to the bathroom and sit. And I promise you, they all come out and they're like, we're buying that. It's a guaranteed sale, guaranteed. But don't ever try to sell it to the woman because it's the easiest sale in the world to a woman.
Fine.
To a man, you just have to make them go potty. It's kind of hard for you guys to go to a guy and go, John, I need you to go potty, and you have to sit. And they go.
All right,
See,
we get it.
Might need to bring a designer in on that one.
All right, cool. Well, we're out of time here, so Robin, thanks again for being on. This is awesome.
It's
and
always my pleasure.
Yeah, so we'll keep it coming. All right, with that, we're going to call it a day, everyone. Everyone, thanks for being on, and
have a great day.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
See you later. Bye-bye.